Now we have gone through the basic concepts of Vuex. What you have seen so far will be sufficient for small to medium-sized applications. Now we're going to look at modules, which is a way to structure your Vuex code. Splitting the code into modules becomes increasingly valuable for large applications, but you may of course also do this for smaller applications if you prefer. So, what are modules? Well, before answering that, let's talk a bit about what we've been doing so far. We have a central store containing a state, getters, mutations, and actions. We then have a number of components accessing the store one way or another. An example of that would be the following. The vju:Product component would retrieve a product from a getter and add it to the cart by dispatching an action. The cart component would retrieve information about what is currently in the cart through a getter. When increasing or decreasing product quantities or checking out the cart, actions would be dispatched. A login component is responsible for displaying the login form and handling the login. It would retrieve the current login status from a getter and dispatch an action for logging in. Finally, a vju:Profile component would retrieve information about the currently logged in user from a getter. This is just a thought out example that is pretty close to what we have already implemented, but you can of course imagine that this becomes pretty complex once you have 30 or 50 components using the same store. The store has mutations, actions, and getters for product related things, but also for features concerning user management, for instance. You can probably see where I'm going with this. To keep everything more separated and isolated, a store can be split into modules. Modules contain their own state, actions, getters, and mutations. They don't, however, change the fact that we have one centralized store, because modules are still added to one central store. That being said, modules can actually have submodules as well, so this is kind of a recursive thing. Since a module is kind of a store in itself, you can think of using modules as dividing the store into multiple stores. This is not 100% accurate, but it's close enough for now. So, expanding on the example from before, we could divide the store into two modules, a products module and a user module. This would make everything simpler to understand and maintain, because features that are related to user management would no longer be mixed with features such as adding products to the cart, features that are not related in any way. So this would enable us to separate the concerns of the application and group the functionality by features. Using the modules within components is not going to be much different than before, but I'll get back to that part of it soon. That was the basic introduction to Vuex modules. There is of course a lot more to it than this, but some things just don't make sense to explain before diving into some code, so let's do that now.